Nigeria is ground zero, the focal point of the most brutal and murderous anti-Christian persecution in the world today. I applaud President Trump's recent decisive action to redesignate Nigeria as a country of particular concern for engaging in and tolerating severe violations of religious freedom.
It's no longer news that Nigeria and Africa are sitting on very rich ancestral homelands that belong to indigenous peoples. It is also not news that for centuries, these resources were extracted, exploited, and used to build other continents, while the indigenous Africans and Nigerians, that is the real owners of these lands, are abandoned and left to roam around the world in search of food and source of livelihood. But what is news now is that these resources in Nigeria have now fallen into the hands of the global Islamic terrorist network. You heard me right. Constitutionally, these resources have fallen into the hands of the global Islamic terror network through Fulani ethnic group. And you know what? The indigenous peoples and their children who are living on those ancestral homelands have now been marked for total extermination. Yes, as their ancestral homelands get renamed to prevent future claim to those ancestral homelands, the assets, and the resources. That is what you are witnessing today in Nigeria. The ethno-religious killings going on in Nigeria and some other parts of Africa. This was achieved by imposing the 1999 Unitary Constitution on Nigeria that was meant to be a secular country with full federal system. That killer constitution supports the evil Sharia law and the intolerant feudal system. These two do not see human beings as being equal. They do not see humans as equal. And these two also do not hold life sacrosanct. They do not believe that all men are born equal, or that others should have rights to life and properties. The people in the so-called Sharia states in Nigeria today, and those swearing to uphold that 1999 constitution, do not support democracy and constitutionalism. You heard me right. They do not. Anyone swearing to uphold that evil unitary constitution that supports Sharia law and feudalism is not a Democrat, does not believe in democracy. That's what it means. They are different from the rest of us who are saying no to that unitary constitutional arrangement. And most of us are from the middle belt and the southern part of Nigeria. In today's episode, we are going to watch a recent interview by Mr. Tony Nadi at Afia TV. We're going to break it into two parts. So please make sure you watch both of them. And I'll make comments as we watch the video. You need to be patient with us so that you can understand everything that is being said. Remember to subscribe to all our social media channels and handles so that you can be better informed and on alert in the days ahead. We wouldn't want you to miss any part of what is going on. This conversation, where it will go to, and where it will eventually end. We want you to be part of it. And remember, drop your comments, because from your comments, we will know the popular demand and what other video to bring to you. In this first part of the video, Tony Nadi is talking about how policies are being shaped to accommodate what is happening in Nigeria and what needs to take place. So it's important because ideas rule the world and policies govern what happens and how other countries relate with other countries. So countries are already making changes to their policies, some on immigration, some on trade and different things like that, to accommodate what is going on in Nigeria. So we also know that there are lists out there, lists of those that are funding the terrorism going on in Nigeria, and list of the terrorists, the major ones, the facilitators, including the politicians and religious leaders. So please pay attention. It's important for you to understand where this conversation is going to, so you will not become victim of what you don't know. So please let us watch. Thank you.
The intricate dance between nations. In the shadows of Washington, D.C., a quiet yet powerful campaign was underway, one that will ultimately lead to the reinstatement of U.S. sanctions against Nigeria. The issue at hand, widespread ethno-religious killings that sparked international outrage. But what drove this decision, and who were the key players involved? As we peel back the layers, it becomes clear that the work of organizations and individuals like NINAS and others played a pivotal role in shaping U.S. policy. The question now is, what's next for Nigeria, and how will this impact the country's trajectory? We'll be joined by Tony Nadi. He's the Secretary General, LNC, and co-convener of NINAS. He will throw more light on the issues that actually precipitated what we're seeing now as U.S. threats and even sanctions against Nigeria, following the issues around the ethno-religious killings, and of course, Christian persecution has been widespread in Nigerian media and internationally.
Thank you. Welcome, viewer.
All right. Thank you. I mean, the whole issue about where we found ourselves now as a country, looking at the issues that the president of the U.S. had to raise himself, it looks like it didn't start today. Help us, take us back memory lane, how everything we're seeing today may have actually precipitated.
Yes, I'm sure that our viewers will remember that for most of 2019, we were in Washington discussing with the U.S. What will happen with the terror networks that were converging in West African sub-region. At the time Buhari was president, Buhari threw our borders open to bring in Fulani from all over the sub-region to come in and just do as they deem fit. You remember too that in that period that the U.S. was at war with ISIS in the Middle East. And the ISIS had relocated from the Middle East, trying to reinforce themselves in the West African sub-region. And what we had to go to do was to tell them that this thing is happening in our space. Our president, who is a sympathizer of extreme, Islamists, is a champion of Sharia. He's involved with Fulani herdsmen that had become notorious at the time. He's the live grand patron of Vietnam and all of that. And he had said it publicly after he left office as a military head of state that he was going to use everything that comes within his reach to pursue Sharia to no end. That is, the whole country will come under Sharia if he had its way. And so it was in that kind of a setting that we had to go to Washington. That's the team I led, had to go to Washington to whisper to them that we have something we could do that will solve this problem for them. That is to say, the Constitution of Nigeria, I want our people to listen carefully, because what Trump said was that they will come here unless something happens to arrest the situation. The reason I'm on TV now is to share with the people of Nigeria the government of Nigeria, and all of those who may have some stake in what happens here. It is the national security interests of the United States that have been injured by Nigeria repeatedly. You saw the visa restriction. It was because our database is compromised. Running through the border open and people Fulani came from everywhere. And Pantani was documenting them as Nigerians. And so somebody comes with a Nigerian passport, who is a trained fighter from the Middle East or wherever they come. They have become Nigerian, but they could come here and be documented as Nigerian. That's what the US was talking about when they changed everything about the visa situation. And so in that 2019, we went to raise that alarm in January. I'm sure most of us saw the videos there. And you can pick some pictures from the era if you have them. We went to raise the alarm that these things are happening in this space. And that if they will listen to us, that we are going to tell them what will be done to arrest the ISIS that had come to our sub-region, becoming ISWAP with Boko Haram and all the other agencies of Al-Qaeda and the other networks. And that the man who is our president and his government, that the constitution, that's the Buhari of the time, that the constitution of Nigeria which they imposed is the reason they're able to do what they are doing. And that we, the Nigerians, who are the victims of the situation, because the killings are happening all over the place, that we of Nigeria, who are supposed to be living under that constitution, are now together in saying we can pull back our signature that was implanted on that constitution against our own, without our consent. That if we pull it down, that constitution will go down. And the union that, because it's that constitution that brings the Fulani and everybody else into our space, will then redefine our union in a manner that will quarantine them to a smaller space. Because Ijo will be on Ijo land, Yoruba will be on Yoruba land, Anang will be on Anang land. Everybody will be in their lands. We'll then go to a meeting to rework our union. The 1914 union was not our union. It hasn't become our union in 1999 because, again, agents of the old order imposed a constitution, and for some reason, people who are supposed to know that they have a problem and to look for solutions to that problem are carrying on with a constitution that rendered them slaves in their homeland, as if it doesn't matter. And people are dying in this norm simply because this constitution is still in place. There's no other thing that is the reason for what the US is now coming to solve by themselves. After we finished everything in that 2019, we had the privilege of addressing the Senate committee, the House committee, all in Capitol Hill. I was the one that led the team, and I'm in a position to report today where that CPC is coming from, because it was the culmination of what we did at the time that became the country that Nigeria got designated as a country of particular concern. And what has happened now is the reinstatement of that status. What does that status mean? It means that, and of course, let us also recall that in December of 2019, they had put Nigeria on a watch list. That is, at the level of watch list, you are being told to the hearing of the whole world that you are stepping on the national security interests of the United States. And that it's not just the US. Everywhere terror can go is what you are now breeding the terror that will travel, like Iran have been doing, breeding terror. And so Nigeria had put itself in that same category as Iran, as Afghanistan. At the time they were breeding this terror, and everything everybody tried to do to get them to stop, they wouldn't stop. And so we told the US that all of us who are victims, who are Nigerians, but who are victims of that Fulani ethnic agenda, that is where the government of jihad. This talk about the Christian genocide is the front end of it. The back end is that there is an ethnic, mask. There's an ethnic human wearing the mask of jihad. Yes, you see, most of the people they are killing who happen to be in the middle belt and the south, in fact, the southern fringes of Borno, Gombe, all the way to Kebbi on the other extreme, who happen to be Christians. It just happened that they are Christian. But why are they killing people in Zamfara? Why are they killing people in Katsina, in Kebbi and all the other places who are also Muslims? So it's basically an ethnic Fulani conquest agenda being driven from all over the sub-region, but Nigeria as the hub. And so the U.S. agreed with us that the solution we had offered, that is to say that we're going to take down the 1999 Constitution and force a discussion that will push them back into a smaller space, unplug them from our national, resources in terms of being head over us in a constitution that puts everything in their hands. The guns that are not available today, to those who have been slaughtered in Benue, in Plateau, in Southern Kaduna and elsewhere, in Kwara now, the reason it's happening is that the Constitution of Nigeria put the guns beyond them. There's nothing that will solve that problem than that Constitution going down and the owners of the sovereign, the ones who live in that danger, taking time. There's no other, the corruption we see, the insecurity of other types we see, the infrastructural decay we see, the Nigeria that has become the poverty capital of the world, it is on account of this Constitution. Those who are doing democracy under the Constitution that render everybody slave. We have been shouting and telling you what needs to be done. You have refused to do it. The international community led by the U.S., in fact, U.S. can act unilateral, are going now to this. You saw what happened in Gaza. They were telling them, stop. If you don't stop, we'll come and stop you. They refused. Now, the U.S. says, we will come to solve this problem because that's what the CPC brings you. The U.S. can come to that space and solve that problem by itself. But there's a window, which is why we are speaking today to everybody. Anybody who knows where to find Bola Tinubu should get him to listen to this before he takes himself to Washington. Because in 2019, while we were there sharing evidence of what was going on in Nigeria with them, what's his name? Buhari dispatched Osinbajo, the vice president at the time, Christian, professor of law, Yoruba. They are killing your people, and Buhari dispatched you to come to Washington to lie to them that no killing is taking place, which is the kind of thing Bishop Kuka is doing now. Can anybody tell me why Hassan Matthew Cook will tell the world that no killing is no killing of the nature that is alleged that going on? We can understand the charlatans like Panika or Remy, the Renault or the ones that buy on kind of people. We can understand those ones. But why will Matthew Kuka be the one to go and bear false witness in global state? I know what is in the file. I know how the CPC was arrived at. It was the election of 2020 that brought Biden and his Blinken, who then removed Nigeria from that list. At the time, the killings were increasing. Luckily, Trump comes back and the killings are not abated. All he did after the election was to say that the executive order under which they were planning this kind of action we're hearing now, Trump gave a 180-day drawdown. Let those who want to research what happened under the executive order that was signed in June of 2020, before the election happened in November, that brought Biden. And so this was where the matter was coming from as at that time. We have had every opportunity to do what we need to do. What is that thing we need to do to arrest this situation? Let us suspend any talk of election and go into fixing the Constitution that will arrest the situation that has gone out of control. That's the only window left. Nigeria has less than 2 months. From what I know, Nigeria has less than 2 months to solve this problem by themselves. They have been postponing it since 1967. They have been postponing it from 1999. Let us realize we don't have a union. Can Bola Tinubu mobilize the country now around his flag? Can I be mobilizing behind the flag of Nigeria today? Can those being slaughtered in the Middle Belt be mobilized behind that flag? Can the young people slaughtered at the toll gate be mobilized behind that flag? Well, the union has collapsed. Then a few people gather in Abuja. Every month they share money. They are selling crude oil. There's no part of that money that is meant for the citizens of the country. They are announcing GDP to us. And some hooligans gather with them to say they are doing democracy under the constitution that guarantees the killing that is going on. Somebody like Peter Obi, anybody who knows where to find him now, should tell him to leave everything he's doing and listen. All of those who are doing democracy under this constitution will be the first set of target if this matter becomes rightful show. But we have a little time window to solve it by ourselves. We have a little time window to solve it by ourselves. Let us go now and announce to the world, like South Africa did in 1990, that we will suspend the elections and go and discuss the Union Constitution. If we are not doing that, people are going to take extraordinary steps to save themselves. And when the guns begin to boom, we saw it in Gaza. For Trump to say they will come begging, it's not only the government that will come on that at that time. It will be everybody everywhere. The rest of us who are not in government, the rest of us who are not sharing money with them, must now find the wisdom to do what needs to be done in little time left. That thing is that we must suspend the journey to election, go into a transition to rework the constitution of Nigeria. I think that's the backdrop I can bring to it.
Thank you for watching. If you made it this far, it means you are interested in what we're doing, and we appreciate you. So after Trump has redesignated Nigeria as a country of particular concern, he says he's coming gun blazing. So in this part now, we'll continue to listen to Mr. Tony Nadi break down some of the things that we need to understand. You see, in all this going on, what NINAS does not want is to watch Nigeria collapse, because that will mean there will be casualties. People will suffer. This is why it's important for you to listen now. Those who will suffer if Nigeria collapses, or when Nigeria collapses, should pay attention. We are talking about the technocrats. We are talking about bank owners. We are talking about even farmers, indigenous, everyday people. Because when there is total collapse, now we're saying Nigeria is a failed state. But if we do not manage things properly, there will be total collapse. Everybody will suffer. Up, down, everyone. So it is our responsibility to compel President Tinubu to suspend the preparation to 2027 general elections. Why? So that we can go into transition. We need to mobilize ourselves. We need to mobilize everyone against the 2027 Fulani-sponsored elections. Yes, you heard me right. As we continue in this conversation, you understand why I called it Fulani-sponsored 2027 election. It is our responsibility to go and rework our union. We must do it. We must address our constitutional arrangements so that things will be better for you and for me. We need to rework our existence. Thank you. So please, let us watch.
All right, so Mr. Nadi, now that we understand this, you are saying that we have about 2 months window to deal with this and come out of the web that might emerge. What needs to happen between now and the next 2 months if Nigeria wants to get out of this? And you've been talking about reworking the Constitution. How will that happen?
The 5-point proposition of NINAS that is contained in the constitutional force majeure we put on the table since the exempt of 2020. Those 5 points brings us to where, and I'm not telling you what's going on inside his head, I'm telling us what was discussed in Washington for 7 months. That the solution to this problem, and Washington already brought into it, and went on to get the UN and talk to call in 2019 when the UN rapporteur or the administrator, we left Washington in July of 2019. By August, that UN mission was already here. So investigate judicial killings happening in Nigeria, blood all over the place. Fulani Hesman is killing, soldiers are killing, terrorists are killing, bandits is killing. You go to the eastern part, again, everything upside down. You go to Ijaw territory, they say it's not from blood and blood are more blood. So it means that matter of That constitution, because that was the of the visitation of the administration Rapsovich. He said the report says that a reason blood is flowing all over Nigeria is because of the constitution that operates in Nigeria, constitution that operates like in the we can recite it. Agnes Salamat in 2019 September. They came in August, went down the country, came to the conference, meaning that the outside world, the international community, those who are concerned about what happened if Nigeria snap, are to tell us that this constitution is sort of a problem, whether it's the poverty or the corruption or the decay in everything. This constitution is the reason we are where we are, including everything you can point, every single thing you can point. And so, what needs to happen now? Address the concern when they say concern of particular concern. What is the concern of the youth in our culture? That concern is terror that is ready in our place to come to them as in a matter of time. Terror can go to Europe, that terror can go everywhere. And if we come to where that terror now, 230 million people will be looking for where to run to. Who in West Africa can receive even 10 million? Our neighbors all the way to Ghana cannot receive even 10 million. The rest will face every direction. And then the terror network will then have them because there will be nobody in control. The terror network will move it and we have Afghanistan and 10 in our hands. That's what we are risking. And what needs to happen in this time window is for government of Nigeria, is for those who might suffer if it is not or come to where the U.S. is now coming to stop the source of that terror that will come there. What needs to happen is an announcement covering those 5 points of opposition. The government must now agree with us, with the rest of with the owners of Nigeria, that the Unitary Constitution of Nigeria is the source of all the problem. The government must not commit to solving that problem by the commission of that constitution. The government must know we can go to another election because without that election, we have to depend on all this constitution. So back to where we are. And so that's item 3 they have to cover, that we're not going to another election under this constitution. Then item 4 is that for the first time, there will be a meeting of the owners of the sovereign. They were not consulted in 1914. They were not consulted in 1999. All of what happened between 1914, whether you're talking about 1822 or 1946 or 1954 of Richard Steele and the McPherson and all those constitutions we saw, none of them came from the people. Even the so-called independence constitution and the one of 1964, the ones who say, oh, let's go back to 1966. 1963 was another amendment to 1960. For those who have been telling us that if only we went back there, all would be well. It was a parliament action. Constitutions are not made by first parliament. So it is accepted that we have not made any constitution. The one to be imposed by decree, because of all approach every one of them. Secondly, as well as the commission senate meet, so that will get to another election under this constitution. That's what the stand frame to is to come within the demand of what has happened now. The fourth is that it is a two-stage process. The two-stage process, how to rework the constitution. It's not the bullets that we are talking about. It is the union agreement. It just in each other, discussing with Yoruba that owns Yoruba land and the Pilgrim that owns Biram land, and they don't and Igbo that Igbo. All of the participants of lands that are aggregated and considered into the Nigerian Union. It is the peoples of those territories who could have been countries of their own. You about a country of 60 million people today. Nigeria was those of their space and running their life. That was going on in far. The eastern side, Ido and Oni and Anang and the Epic can agree to be by themselves or to be with people. Let it be their decision. That's what their sovereignty that is inalienable entitles them. And that's the case all the way to what the UN says about what is available. The UN, is threatened to say, you are entitled to be your ancestral space. But if anybody to do anything with them, that person has to agree with you, I agree with it. If they can't agree, then everybody will find space to adjust themselves. You can't come and impose yourself on the in his own ancestral space. God is got excellence in Catalonia, and the concept in Tibet of that's what it is universally. It's only in Nigeria that British will come and lock together civilizations that are opposed yet aging for celebrate. The civilization that requires somebody to kick me as leader, the ones doing Sharia. The civilization that allows him to see like Akia, whereas I'm to tell the truth. I forbid killing in my state. I can't feel massive in my state. My action forbids it. The religion that kills Christianity forbids it. But the people in the union, like that's not our union on the and it's not our union, and we making it a union of life. It's just an imposition or not. They are holding up the gunpoint in the union of gunpoint. So we're going to stand for that like and now. Assuming that that is coming out of what? Not to be the status of mobilization. Because everybody is already looking for how to set themselves from that Nigeria. The reporters of people who want to mobilize will actually do whatever it takes to put that Nigeria to death. Because me, if it is Nigeria defined by this constitution, whatever to take to bring out that unitary Nigeria is what we try to do. And those things again. That's what most people who know what the problem is. I'm not talking about Nigeria the Federation. If it is Nigeria the Federation that we have to restore today, I'll be the constructor. But if it is the Nigeria of unitary Nigeria and people swear to defend and oppose this abomination, 4 years will pass, another 4 years will pass, and really so that is deciding in 99. Why can't that be returned to the people so that we shall continue like this? Let us stop and feel what has gone on. The ones that in Abuja and the people who go to join them every day, the ones who are standing in the way of these 230 million people who are ignorant, they will covering them so that the people is protected. There's no we can do with the kind of thing they done. They fired everybody off, and they're planning the election in 2027 under the city where those is. Let me see where they will be in another 2 months. So your question, what that had to do? That's an announcement that South Africa made in 1990. So say that the apartheid cannot carry their society, and therefore they were going into a meeting to discuss what became the fifth item listed for the user system is time-bound announcement. That time-bound that announcement by who claim government of Nigeria say that we will go to Congress project. That is the only thing that is going to make sense to anybody watching it right now. I thought that go do it yourself or beyond out. They already mobilized before Biden to disrupt everything. And so, use this window, this matter goes before the young government. The people who will suffer, because if it becomes them floating and mixed, a lot of things are going to be disrupted. And to be sure that the U.S. may have its own objectives beyond what is. But we have an opportunity to get all of that now. This is not the time for Tinubu to begin to go to look for that people are not being killed, that we can enjoy it. It's not a matter for anything sort of committing to removing the source of the problem. It's the source of the problem. It's not when you send the supposed to go and bring one more person.
All right.
Go and the few bandits make a social of it. All right. We talk to the Israel in the source of this problem.
That's right. We need to take a break.
Thank you for watching to the end of this first part. Remember, we said we are breaking this interview into 2. So please watch the second part. This is the first part. Remember to share, like, and subscribe. This is Moment of Peace. We are working towards peace and stability, and we want you to be part of it. Thank you very much.